Good evening. Today we have a special guest. You are the government minister responsible for pensions.
Yes, I am.
And you are here to tell us about a new policy being proposed by the government.
Yes, that is correct. As you know, people who receive the basic state pension receive an annual increase to cover the cost of living. We call this the annual uprating. Starting next year, we're going to change the system so that you will only receive the annual uprating if you live in a designated county. If you live north of a line between the Severn Estuary and the mouth of the Humber, your pension will be frozen and you will no longer receive any increases.
And that can be justified how exactly?
Just because you pay the same amount in national insurance contributions doesn't mean to say you're entitled to the same pension.
Doesn't it? Well, Minister, that's exactly what I thought it would have meant. Isn't that a little unfair?
Well, it rather depends on your perspective. To the frozen pensioner, it probably is unfair. But it's very fair to the Treasury, and Treasury officials are people too, and we expect to save quite a lot of money, and they're going to be very happy.
No, don't you expect any sort of outcry?
Oh, there will be a lot of whining. There's always a lot of whining these days. The old people are the worst. They whine about everything, food and the weather, you name it. But in these times of fiscal restraint, we must find the money from somewhere.
But what about the opposition?
In opposition, you can say what you like. I may have spoken against the scheme myself when I was in opposition. But once we're elected, it's a very different story.
Ah, yes, I see. Anything else to add, Minister?
Well, we implemented a scheme so that if you live in a frozen county, but visit an unfrozen county, your pension will be uprated for the time of your visit. For example, if you live in the frozen county of Yorkshire and go to Brighton for 2 weeks on holiday, your pension will be uprated for those 2 weeks.
Forgive me for saying so, Minister, but as far as government proposals go, this one seems quite bizarre and completely unfeasible.
Not at all. That's the beauty of it. We have already the exact system in place. It's already set up.
Already set up? How do you mean?
10% of all pensioners live abroad. Half of them receive the annual increase and half of them don't, depending on what country they reside in.
Really? I'm shocked, Minister. Can you give me some examples of these frozen countries?
Well, if you live in Canada, for example, your pension is frozen, but in America it isn't. And if you live in Trinidad, your pension is frozen, and in Jamaica it isn't.
So, it is all about the money.
Well, money is important, and a penny saved is a penny earned, you know.
Yes, I see. But isn't it true, Minister, that the cost of treating all pensioners equally would add less than 1% to the total pension bill? In other words, for every £1 you now spend on pensions, wouldn't this add less than 1 penny?
Yes, but perhaps that's true.
Any other examples of frozen countries?
Well, if you live in Australia or New Zealand, your pension is frozen. But if you live in the Philippines or Liechtenstein, it isn't.
Forgive me for saying so, Minister, but it seems to me that the majority of frozen pensioners live in Commonwealth countries. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, for example. Don't we have close bonds with those countries? After all, we do share a monarch and very often generations of close family ties.
Yes, perhaps that's so, but the Commonwealth doesn't seem to count for very much anymore. People are not bothered about it. We're all pro-EU now, you see. Now, if you retire and go to live in France, your pension will happily uprate that pension for you. No problem.
But tell me, Minister, these frozen pensioners living abroad, don't they protest about this unfair treatment?
Oh yes, particularly the older they get and the smaller their pension. But that's the beauty of it, you see. They're old. and they don't vote here anymore, so nobody cares about them. I think you'll find that the older people are the easiest to take advantage of.
Isn't that rather cynical, Minister?
On the contrary, it's government policy.
Thank you, Minister. You've been very enlightening. If you would like to help change the unfair policy of selective discrimination against pensioners, visit the website at pensionjustice.org.